Well, it looks like Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang will be returning to the Premier League. He's only made about 18 appearances for Barcelona, and it seems like he'll be heading back to London, but west this time to Chelsea. James Olley and Sam Marsden are joining me for this one. Of course, James, let's start with you because, as we said, Aubameyang back in London, although Arsenal fans will want to look away because it is going to be to Chelsea. Does this make it the perfect fit then for the striker that all Chelsea fans have been asking for this transfer window?
Well, it's the perfect fit for Thomas Tuchel in some regards because he's the one that's really driven this transfer. It's a little bit out of left field for Chelsea in terms of the profile of player that they were looking for this summer. He's obviously 33 years old. This is a here and now transfer. This is not one for the future. But he's got a great working relationship with Aubameyang from their 2 years together at Dortmund. He scored, I think, 79 goals in 95 games. In those 2 seasons, a phenomenal record. And I thought it was quite significant, even when he was going through his difficult time at Arsenal. Thomas Tuchel was asked about that in his press conferences at the time as Chelsea manager, and he was very sympathetic. He was sort of saying, he's a character, you get sort of a bit rough around the edges with him, but you accept all of that because of what he delivers on the pitch. And Chelsea have struggled for goals this season. They've not looked as fluid and as clinical in that front three as they would have liked, and the quality and sort of guaranteed goals that he brings in terms of the Premier League is an exciting fit for them.
And Sam, of course, we've, got so excited when Aubameyang came over to La Liga to Barcelona. It seemed like he was going to be quite the right fit, bringing some experience to the youngsters that Xavi had to work with before this transfer window. Obviously, it's been a pretty of a tough week for him with all the situation that happened there in Barcelona. But how would Barcelona be taking his exit, though?
Yeah, it's been a tough week for Aubameyang, but I think it's been a good spell in Barcelona, a brief spell. If we go back to the last deadline day, he was rushing to Barcelona, turning up at the airport to sign for Barcelona, and now the next deadline day he's flying to London to finalise a move to Chelsea. He's a player Barcelona would have liked to keep in an ideal world, but the financial situation is far from ideal at Barcelona. They've reluctantly had to accept that, having signed Robert Lewandowski, having signed Rafinha, also having Ansu Fati, Ferran Torres at the club, Ousmane Dembele, that, having Aubameyang when there's bids coming in for a 33-year-old striker, that bring in cash and allow them as well to bring in Marcos Alonso, a player they've coveted all summer, in part exchange is something that they can't really turn their noses up at. So yeah, I mean, it would have been nice for them to keep him around as a backup to Lewandowski, but the reality is it made no sense when they needed to A, reduce the wage bill, and B, sign Alonso, someone they promised, they've had an agreement with him for several weeks now. They promised that they would do all they can to sign him, and also that cash will obviously help them with La Liga's financial fair play regulations after all the signings they've made this summer.
And then, James, as we were saying that Aubameyang is just, even though he is 33 years old, he is just such a top player. We know exactly how the Arsenal fans, feel or felt about him. Do you just automatically expect him to walk into that Thomas Tuchel starting 11 and kind of hit the ground running?
The only uncertainty here is if you look at the way that they're trying to play at the moment, he has got rid of Romelu Lukaku primarily because he doesn't press the ball well enough from the front. And he's playing these 3 attacking players as much for what they do without the ball as what they do with it. You're not really going to get that from Aubameyang. Now, one of the main issues that Arteta had with him at Arsenal was that he wasn't always consistent in setting the press from the front. And the other thing about it is that his best form for Arsenal was playing off the left rather than through the middle. So there are 1 or 2 conundrums there in terms of, he's not an automatic go straight in as your number 9, set the press. Not only what he can do without the ball, he's much better with the ball. I think we all agree with that. He's going to have to find that right chemistry between you. Assume Raheem Sterling is going to start. He's obviously started scoring goals now. He's their big summer signing from Manchester City. Havertz, they've invested a lot of time and energy into him. You suspect that maybe those front 3, that might be the front 3 that he goes with. But there are question marks about just how well he's going to fit in. But I guess I go back to that relationship with Thomas Tuchel. The fact that those 2 get on so well, Tuchel's going to know how to get the best out of him straight away, and that's the best chance they've got. Obviously, there'll be no need to acclimatise to the league. He knows the city very well, having been here for so many years with Arsenal. knows the league inside out. That won't be a problem for him. He should be raring to go as well. He'll have a point to prove coming back to London, given how he left Arsenal. So there's plenty of motivating factors for him. But just from a tactical point of view, that is a little bit of an unknown about exactly where he fits in.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.